Do it, do it, do it, do it! Can't you see all of me? Walk into my mystery, step inside and hold on for the ride. Did you see the trailer?
What trailer?
The trailer for the Shadow the Hedgehog movie.
Don't you mean Sonic the Hedgehog 3?
I know what I said. That's right, everybody. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 has officially dropped its trailer roughly a week ago. Fuck. And I kind of just want to talk about that. Some of my predictions for what this movie may have, how it's gonna play off of Adventure 2's story, what I'm expecting, things like that, characters and all that. But I will throw out there that I don't follow leaks. I don't really follow other people's theories. I watched the trailer and that's about all I've touched on this. So I don't know what's already been leaked, what's already been confirmed. I'm just going off of my knowledge of the previous movies, the trailer, and the events of the game. So let's start with Shadow himself and where his backstory is going to compare to Shadow's actual backstory. First things first, I don't think we're going to get anything about the Black Arms. I think maybe Black Doom might get mentioned on like a monitor. You know, they may give a little Easter egg to the Black Arms, but I don't think the Black Arms are going to have any role in this plot. They do refer to Shadow as an alien, which is interesting, and the Space Colony arc is not actually mentioned in the trailer. So there's a very... my money goes to the arc. The alien comment is directly related to the arc, him being born in space. The alien comment also is a little weird when you factor in the fact that the movie's plotline is the fact that the animal folk are from another dimension. Sonic team are aliens themselves to Earth. Shadow is more terrestrial, most likely, than they are. I'm willing to bet that alien comment is purely for Space Colony. And I do think Space Colony arc's going to still be involved, play its role. Even though they didn't say it, it plays such a major role in who Shadow is, how he became who he was. I mean, it's the entire reason Maria was isolated. It's the entire reason Shadow was isolated. I don't know if we'll get, like, the Eclipse Cannon will be mentioned, because in Adventure 2, there was no reason for the Eclipse Cannon to exist. Gerald never explained why it exists, because his plan was always to crash, well, not always, but his plan was to crash the station into Earth, whereas Shadow the Hedgehog gave us an explanation that he built the Eclipse Cannon to destroy the Black Comet. And again, the Eclipse Cannon also existed in SA2's narrative as bait for Eggman. Shadow had no intentions of caring about the Eclipse Cannon because Shadow's plan was always to crash the Ark into the planet. So the Eclipse Cannon was literally just used for Shadow to bait in Eggman, because he promised this ultimate weapon. With Eggman now being an adversary to Shadow, I doubt the Eclipse Cannon is going to show up. I do think ultimately Shadow's backstory is going to be very similar, like a one-for-one tale to Adventure 2's version of the backstory. I think we are going to get Maria has a immune disorder and cannot go to Earth. I don't know if they'll name drop NIDS. It's official canon doesn't really name drop NIDS anymore, so I highly doubt that. But all that. Gerald used to be a very high respected scientist, built the space colony for whatever reasons they wish to in this universe, and to cure Maria as well as benefit humanity, he created the ultimate Lifeform, Shadow the Hedgehog. I don't know how they're going to tie the fact that he's a hedgehog into this one, because the Sonic Movie 2 gave us a lot of information that the animal folks have had history on Earth. I mean, Aquatic Ruin Zone shows up, the Master Emerald was on Earth, the animals were there. So I guess Gerald at least somehow knew about them, obviously long before Sonic was born. So I don't know how it's going to trail into Sonic's superpowers. Who knows? Maybe the movies will pull that mural theory that we're getting for actual canon Shadow. But yeah, he'll create Shadow as the ultimate life form to cure disease. The GUN gun will step in and be like, it's going too far, too powerful. They'll raid, kill almost everyone in the Ark, including Maria, where Shadow will be ejected from the Ark. They'll recover Shadow. Gerald will still be alive and work on him. And I think that's actually one of the more interesting aspects. In the trailer, they revealed that Gerald Robotnik is still alive, which is insane. Gerald Robotnik is a still living entity. He's still a player in this game, rather than this deceased man whose final revenge existed through Shadow. Rather than Gerald in his last moments altering Shadow's mind, he probably still did that. He probably still altered Shadow's mind. I'm betting a genuine, like, person-to-person manipulation happened. There is one point in the trailer where Shadow says, when we are done, there'll be nothing left. Implying Shadow is not working alone, and I think the most likely candidate as an ally to Shadow is Gerald, because Gerald's motivations are completely aligned with Shadow's in SA2, up to the point of Shadow realizing what Maria truly wanted. Let's talk about what Shadow's powers are going to be in this. Now, I've said it before personally to my friends that Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails are in the movie versions are notably weaker than their game counterparts, possibly just due to they have had less time to power scale into absurdity. Movie Shadow seems to be just as powerful as game Shadow, because Shadow in the games cannot solo all 3 members of Team Sonic. He's a powerful individual, but he's, by all accounts, Sonic's equal, and in the trailer it implies that he's beating the shit out of all 3 of them. So Shadow is notably more powerful than our main trio. But let's talk about what we've seen him do. Obviously, he's insanely fast, crazy fast reaction time, extremely strong. We see where he choke slams Sonic into the ground that caused a shockwave, twisting Knuckles' arm. Even though the animation in the trailer made that look a little weird, it doesn't look like it would have hurt. I imagine that's just trailer fodder. We do see him Chaos Snap a few times, teleporting around mid-combat. There's the one part where he punches and then immediately cuts to a black hole within his orangish-red lightning that he has to match Sonic's blue lightning. So, I don't know if that's a Shadow power, but Chaos Snap, for the most part, is the only Chaos ability we see. We do see him ride his motorcycle, which is sick, but we don't see him do any, like, we don't see Chaos Control. I don't know if we'll see Chaos Control. The Emeralds should just be around. Knuckles just has those. And we didn't see any Chaos Spears or anything like that. We did see him straight up fly with his air shoes, which I don't think we've seen him literally fly since Adventure. Like, I don't think they've brought up that he can fly since Adventure 2. I don't know if we'll see Super Shadow. It depends on, 1, how much they're going to bring the Emeralds into this story, 2, whether we're getting a good or evil, a evil turned good Shadow or a straight evil Shadow. Talk about characters. So obviously we'll have Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails. And I don't really actually see them developing that much. So let's all be honest. This is a movie about Shadow. But Tom and Maddie are the interesting one. The human characters, Tom and Maddie. Wachowski. There is that one shot in the trailer where Tom's join gun, it seems, and it very heavily implies that Shadow kills him. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. There's the line, there's that shot and this line, what did you do what I had to do? I don't think that's Sonic confronting him about killing Tom. I think that's about probably setting the arc in motion. I don't know. I don't want them to put a lot of focus on that. I think that's the worst part of the second Sonic movie, is that, like, awkward 20-minute, probably wasn't even 20 minutes, it was probably like 10, where they just focused on, I think, Maddie and her sister at the wedding fighting the gun agents. That was lame. That was really boring. So I don't know how much focus they're gonna give to the Wachowskis. I hope not a lot, even though this is a human-centric story, because Shadow is a human-centric character. Obviously, we're gonna get Maria and Gerald, where I think Maria is going to be 1-for-1 exactly how she is in the game. Gerald, I think, is also going to be pretty similar. I think he's going to be a good man driven to insanity. It's just the fact that he's still alive is going to pose some questions. Eggman, I don't know what they're going to really do with him being a good guy. I don't think that's going to stick, but that's just what's going to happen. I don't think they're going to kill Tom. They might. That'd be a very interesting thing. They could do the dynamic of, like, now you'll feel what I felt, but Sonic internalizes it to become better, where Shadow internalized it to become worse. Something like that. Will Wade Whipple show up? God, I hope not. But there is one character that I'm super, super interested in, and that's the gun commander. He's called Walters in the movie. While in Adventure 2, the gun commander did not play a major role, if we do factor in Shadow the Hedgehog's plot, the gun commander actually has, I'm going to refer to him as Abraham Tower, as that's the name given to him in Archie. Tower is much more tied to Shadow, as Tower was a child aboard the Ark, witnessed the creation of Shadow, and has this long-standing personal beef, personal vendetta against Shadow, blaming him for Maria's death. Which, man, the government really manipulated that boy, didn't he? I don't see Walters, who has played up more as a comedy character, filling in the same role as Tower. I just don't see that happening. I don't know. I don't think they're going to put any connection between the Gun Commander and Shadow like they did through Shadow the Hedgehog. I don't think Walters here is going to be anything close to Towers. I mean, maybe they'll pull it. Maybe that'll be the little bit of sly reference they'll do to Shadow, that this guy genuinely is like, oh, Shadow ruined my life. But I'm not sure. As for the characters people really want to see, and that's more of the animal folk, more Sonic characters, the number one pick everyone wants is Rouge, and I do not think Rouge is going to show up. I think the deviation of Shadow not working with Eggman is going to... There's no reason for Rouge to show up, because in SA2, Rouge's goal was to literally spy on Eggman and figure out if this Shadow is Project Shadow. And I don't think there's a need for that. Shadow seems to be flying way more solo and way more directly causing problems. So I don't see Rouge being there. Which does interesting, because Rouge is kind of meant to be Shadow's foil to a degree. Still a bad person, but somebody that wasn't using Shadow directly, kind of. Plus, like, come on, these movies are very clearly made by people that know Sonic very well. The Sonic meme shows up in the first one. They know what Rouge is. They know what you animals will do with Rouge. They're not going to put a movie Rouge. Also, the fact that these are factually just younger versions of these characters, they're not going to put Rouge in. I mean, for fuck's sake, just looking up images of Rouge, just to be background things for me to look at while I talk. The first, so many of the results were just porn. Like, guys, please. They're not going to put Rouge in this movie because they know what you are. Amy is probably the biggest one, and I'm fairly certain she did get leaked. I have no idea the validity of those leaks. I've just seen tons of videos titled Amy Rose leaked for Sonic 3, and I haven't looked into them. She may have already been leaked, she may not have. I don't see Amy playing a major role in the story. I just don't. Just because Amy's role in SA2 in the end is to be this unwavering kindness that is what broke through Shadow's shell and reminded him of Maria. Without all of the setup of who Amy is, it's going to be very weird to introduce Amy as this overwhelmingly kind character and in that same movie, within like an hour or two from her introduction, give us that connection to Shadow. But that's the other thing. The movie's going to be about Shadow. I don't see our trio developing in really any way. The movie's going to be about Shadow and his development. So introducing an entirely new character like Amy, who is a main character, I don't see happening completely. I do think Amy might show up though, but I'll get around to that. So here's how I think the movie's actually gonna go. I think we're gonna actually start with Shadow breaking out. I think that's gonna be the cold open. Is Shadow breaking out of the gun base. Prison Island, I assume it's Prison Island. And then it's gonna hard cut to Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles running around having a good time with their found family as Wachowskis, blah blah blah. Gunn will contact them, be like, hey, we may have made a death machine, deal with it. And I think that Japan encounter that we see in the trailer is literally going to be their first encounter. Shadow's gonna kick their ass, they're gonna get away somehow. I'm willing to bet maybe one more encounter where Shadow wins. They do show them all around the world, like Knuckles kicks his feet off of Big Ben. You see them all around the world, so there's going to be a very globe-trotting one, chasing Shadow, I would assume. So I think they're going to catch up to Shadow a few times, get their ass beat, have to fall back, and then say we need to contact Eggman. They'll get Eggman, maybe a couple more encounters. Some point Shadow will encounter Tom, and Shadow will maybe kill Tom. I don't know. I'm not ruling that out. This is a plot that's very heavily tied around the death of a human, so I don't see why they would. I could totally see them killing him. They'll keep chasing each other, each encounter revealing more about what Shadow's after, what he's trying to do, who he used to be. I think eventually Eggman, through hunting Shadow, will encounter Gerald, and I think Gerald will actually get Eggman onto his side. Up to a point, Eggman might retaliate when it comes to the whole blow up the planet thing. Shadow will eventually succeed on causing the Ark to begin hurling itself to Earth, where I would assume he'll get his memories of Maria somehow, maybe through probably, you know what, I'm pro Tom dying now. So I'm betting in place of Amy being the one to remind him of what Maria truly wanted, I'm betting it will be Sonic. And what it'll be is Tom will be dead. And like I said earlier, Sonic will internalize that and become a better person and be like, it was Tom's goal to make the world a better place. That's what he taught me, is to always be me. And that will help Shadow recognize that what Maria always wanted was for the humans to live in peace, to have a chance. Then I think Gerald will show his hand as the quote-unquote twist villain, as he does in Adventure 2. And I don't want to say the Bio-Lizard's going to show up because I don't know why it would. But I think they're going... I would think it's going to be like a one-for-one ending of SA2. Bio-Lizard's going to show up. Bio-Lizard's going to take over the arc, preventing it from being stopped. Gerald will die at some point, I'm sure. And Sonic and Shadow will, I would assume, go super. They have to do. They have to, in this movie, give us the SA2 double super chaos control. I just can't. That is the most iconic thing Shadow and Sonic have ever done together. Which, in turn, means Shadow dying. Shadow popping the inhibitors off and dying. And I think they're gonna just keep him dead. The whole reason Shadow lives in the game canon is because Sonic Team wasn't done. Sega kept them going third party. And Shadow was very popular, so they kept Shadow alive. The original intention of SA2's writing was Shadow to die. And I think the movie might be the opportunity to truly put that impact of Shadow's death. So I think they're going to kill Shadow. Fade to black, credits roll. And the end credit scene, I think that's where Amy's going to come in. I don't know exactly how, but I think there's something very intrinsically tied to Amy that's going to be the bigger reveal. Using that quill we see Sonic give Eggman in the trailer, well, I think some metal madness might start. Well, that took way longer than I expected. Yeah, I've never done a project this edited before, and it took a bit more time than I thought it would, mixed with own life getting in the way and general laziness. I hope you enjoy it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe for more. I plan to do more heavily edited content like this. Ideally, it gets better. If you're looking to watch me play some Sonic games, I got a playlist of me playing Project 06. More videos in that to come. I hope you have a good one, and I hope you live and learn.
Live and learn.